Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. So I'm going to make a really brief video. This is in response to the video that I made previously talking about Judge Judy saying that the de facto child custody law is that both parents are supposed to have custody because they are both parents. And instead, these judges are awarding custody to the mother. Now, I asked a question, why is that? And here is the succinct answer. And I said, who is behind this? Who's behind it? Divorce lawyers, period. Not feminists, not anybody else. You know, the feminists might be thinking that they won something, but really they're just retarded. There is nothing I can say bad enough to convey just how despicable this third wave feminism movement is. It's disgusting. It is beyond. Every thinking human should denounce third wave feminism. Why? Because at the end of the road of third wave feminism is the destruction, degradation, and depopulation of all humanity. There is no bad word bad enough to even convey just how horrible these women, quote unquote, are. And men. Now, as far as child custody, the people behind it are divorce lawyers. Case in point, I listened to an actual divorce lawyer radio show. They have an entire show dedicated just to divorce. And they said point blank, it makes absolutely no business sense to side with men. Why? Because it's the men who have the money. And so they want to extract the money from the men. So not only do they get the child custody, but they also ask for the man to pay for the wife's divorce attorney. How ridiculous is that? Women have no money. Women have no power. The lawyer is trying to get all the money that he can out of the husband. Point blank. Just blatant as it possibly can be. That's what's going on. These idiot women, oh, I'm gonna divorce my husband because he left the seat up on the toilet bowl. I'm gonna divorce my husband because he presses the toothpaste in the middle of the tube. He's gone all the time and I'm sitting here in this $500,000 house all by myself, all lonely. Why don't you get you a dog or a cat and move on with your life? You married for a reason. If you don't understand what marriage is, and I'm sure this whole homosexual thing is not gonna clue you in any further, right? It's gonna probably confuse you even more. Let's talk turkey here. When a woman sees homosexuals talking about getting, and it's not gay guys. Let's put that to rest. It's women. The people at the forefront of this whole gay thing about getting married are women, lesbians. That's who's most vocal. That's who brings the lawsuits. That's who goes to the Supreme Court. Lesbians. It's not gay guys. I've interviewed gay guys. They could care less. And then the ones who say they do support it, I say, are you in a relationship? No. Have you been in a No. Has anybody asked you to marry you? No. Why are you supporting it? Because I'm gay. That's just like voting for Hillary Clinton because she has a vagina. What do I mean by that? You have no dog in the fight. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're supposed to vote for Hillary. Just because you're gay doesn't mean you're supposed to support gay marriage. If you have absolutely no intention of getting married, you're just doing something. They have collected you into a group, targeted you, and said, bam, there you go. So now the woman sits at home lonely, but she's sitting in a $500,000 house. And Vogue and Cosmo says your man should be there rubbing your feet and rubbing your belly and giving you a back massage every night. Because that's a real man. What? No, a real man puts food on the table. A real man has a penis. A real man has a chest. That's what a real man is. He doesn't have a vagina, he doesn't have breasts. That's a real man. There's a definition. And the man is concentrating on providing for his family. That's what a real man concentrates on. Why? Because it's ingrained. And a real man does stuff with his hands, like build a shed, fix the roof. You know, I always I always said that I'm not the most manliest man or whatever, what have you, right? And I'm sure you could see by the way I talk and how I act that, you know, I'm more a sophisticated guy, right? That's the terminology for it. But I've been building a couple of things, and the more I build a couple of things, the more I don't want to do research and do videos and do editing, and I want to go build stuff. It's ingrained in me somehow. I mean, it's just, you know, once you unlock that door, it's open, it's wide open, and you just want to go rush through it all the time, over and over and over and over and over. I guarantee you, if you have a feminine boy as a son, go start building stuff with him. He doesn't. He just completely gets into that. Trust me. That's why men are chefs. The most chefs, world-renowned chefs, excellent at it. Carpenters, plumbers, clothing designers. Men do it better than any woman. And they keep saying, "Oh, women are." I just saw a horrible commercial. What was the commercial about? Heart disease. But it was supported by Now, which is the women's group, and it was a black woman, and they made sure she was black. She wasn't. What's the woman on MSNBC, light skinned and looks white, even though she has braids. The braids look terrible because she's so light skinned you can't even tell she's black. Anyway, this woman was black on the commercial, black like my color black. He's like, women can do anything, and then it was very subtle. If you didn't get the references, you wouldn't understand it whatsoever. So she's going through time in America. So during World War II, she's got her little red do-rag on in her overalls, and she's riveting the fuselage of an airplane, and then it goes to the 60s, and then it goes through the 70s, and she's screaming and yelling at some sort of rally. And while I'm sure there were women that did that, for the most part, all of that stuff was run by men. And she's, women can do anything. And she's in a boardroom. And then, and they kept moving the scenarios by lifting the floor up and going in sort of like an elevator-like thing. But and in the last one where she's in the boardroom, they lift the elevator up and she falls to the ground, dead. And it says, heart disease affects women. Donate to make sure you pay for women. You know, a lot of that stuff, I just say, are people really that stupid? Donate to, you know who donates to stuff like that? And you know who, are we talking about research? They're just saying donate. Nothing specific, just donate. Just give us money. Because vagina. And that's the point of this whole divorce child custody thing. Vagina. Women have no money. Let's not talk about equal pay, or let's talk about equal pay. Women don't have money. Women aren't paid as much because women don't work. They took all men and all women and compared the incomes. That means they took all women, including housewives, and gave them a zero. They didn't even give them an equivalent, right? Because ostensibly the husband pays for the wife anyway, right? That's why she's a housewife. He can cover himself, and he can cover her, and he can cover everybody else in the house. Which leads me to another video that I'm going to do about quit trying to fight your husband. Quit trying to fight the man of the house about money. I'm going to do a whole series about money and household income and revenue and all that sort of stuff. But the lawyers came out point blank and said, woman, you have no money. You don't even interest us. And we're not interested in joint custody. We are going to go for sole custody every time because we get paid a percentage of everything that's decided. Not just billable hours. We get paid in a contingency fee on everything. And we are going to ask the court to judge against the husband in a divorce so he can pay us too. Double, triple, quadruple, everything. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And what's funny is the woman doesn't get insulted. Oh, well, I got my money. She doesn't go, you know what? This whole divorce thing is terrible. First of all, how did I even get to the stage where I'm sitting in court having a divorce? This is the man of my dreams. I had 5 children by him. I live in $500,000. She never stops and says that. She just goes, oh, I got half of more than half, way more than half, destroying, not destroying the man, destroying capital, destroying businesses. How ridiculous is that? Destroying businesses to the point where now 25 people are affected by your pet peeve about the dead toilet seat. I already said it in the video. I said, if it bothers you that much, why don't you save a few $100s and get you an automatic toilet seat toilet, where the toilet completely shuts, closes, the lids completely close every time you get up from the toilet. Every time you use the toilet. Everything, you have to open it up, and then when you leave, it completely shuts, closes. If it bothers you that much. If you're too lazy to clean your own house, go hire a maid. In fact, I think if the woman went through all the things that gave her a pet peeve and she had to pay for it, it would become clear just how stupid she is and just how lazy she is. I don't want to clean this, I need to pay for somebody to clean my house. Okay, when you have to pay for that out of your own money, and here's the kicker. The income that pays the expenses in the home is from the man's income. The woman's income, she can buy herself. I talked to a bus driver, a lady bus driver, and she said, I'm not working because I have to drive a bus that I can't make it into speed. My husband covers all of that. I'm working because I want to buy me an Escalade. Really? You're working, you go through all of this stuff, you're over 60 years old, you go through all of this so you can buy you an Escalade. You probably live in a mediocre house to begin with. So inefficient with money. Black lady, of course. I'm working so I can buy, I mean, just the juvenile concept of how money works. And I can't convey to the women that your divorce, whatever you think that you need to do, that you have to, is so important that you have to have a divorce from your husband of 5, 10, 30 years, you've been married 30 years and you're getting a divorce. You're stupid. You're retarded. There is nothing. And it can't be that he's beating you. It cannot be. And they just came out with stats that 40% of all domestic violence is committed against men. They said it on the mainstream media because Debbie Wasserman Schultz came out and started talking about you should be able to abort a child 2 hours before it's born naturally. These are your Democrats. And she said that all Democrats believe that. And if not, they're not a Democrat. And look at black people just going, just like cattle led to slaughter. Oh yeah, I'm a Democrat. But the man's income goes to pay all the expenses in the house. And I can't convey to women that there is nothing that important. Oh, well, we've just grown apart. We don't talk anymore. Well, then talk. Stop being a stupid cow and talk. What do you want? Do you want a girlfriend or do you want a husband? If you're clueless that men don't sit around and talk about their feelings, all of my arguments last about 15 seconds. The person says something, Henri, and then, was that an English word? I don't know. Is that I don't know. Sorry, I speak 5 languages. The person says something that they're annoyed about, and then I respond, and if the person doesn't say, yeah, you're right, then I walk off. And that's the end of the argument. There's no, well, I feel I was really hurt by your, what, you know. I tell my roommate all the time, oh, that would hurt me if I had feelings. But if you can't be this clueless about men. Men are not going to open up and talk about their feelings. You don't want that. Trust me, ladies, you don't want that. If you find a man who really opens up about his feeling, you have a girlfriend. That's a girlfriend. That's a feminized man. That's no longer a man. And if you want to change your husband into a girlfriend, you need to wake up and recognize what you're trying to do. And that Cosmo and Vogue telling you that that's the man that you want, that's why people get divorced. Well, he's changed so much. Yeah, you turned him into a woman. If I were a different person, I'd say a different word there. You changed him to a girl. He loved you so much that he went from this old house type of guy, the guy with the red plaid shirts and overalls, into who's the guy on CNN, the gay guy on CNN. That's who you changed your man from a man's man to a really man's man. If you get my drift. And then you're going to go divorce him. And he's wondering what the hell happened, because Cosmo has every issue, how to change your man, how to change your man. If you don't like your man, why are you with him? Well, it's not that I don't like him. There's just things about, then you don't like him. And when you try and take a man's personality into your own hands, you're going to end up with this disaster. Then you're going to go out and cheat with the very guy that you say you don't like. The womanizer, the bad boy, the guy that curses you out, the guy that slaps you around. Because that's what you want. That's what you really want. And let's get some psychology onto this. Why are you divorcing your husband? Because you have turned him into a little gay boy. Let's be honest. And now the sharks are circling you and your family that you have built, right? The man has set upon himself that I'm gonna support my wife and children. I'm gonna support my wife and children. I'm gonna support my wife and children. Now you've turned him into a little gay boy that you don't like, that you don't want, that you never wanted, but you were so convinced by Cosmo and Vogue and Elle and Woman's Day that you thought that you needed to change him, and you do your little passive aggressive thing. You know, honey, I really don't like when you sit at dinner and you don't talk to me. Wait, I just got off of a 12-hour shift. Shut the hell up and be happy that I'm eating your horrible food that you don't know how to cook. I'm being the subconscious of the man, what he should be telling you. And you'd probably like that. Some real honesty. Shut the hell up. Get out of here. Let me eat alone if you're going to nag me. Because you are going to work me into an early grave. Because you're nagging. Because you've been reading some stupid magazine, watching some stupid show. Honey, why aren't you loving and caring like that? Because that guy's gay. He has absolutely no use for your vagina. He wants to be pretty. He wants pretty things around him, and he wants to act pretty in front of you. And then when he walks away, gets around the corner and gets with his other gay friends, he goes, oh, she has a smelly cooch. I could not believe I was hanging out with her. I mean, let's just be honest. And you're trying to change your man, and then you say, oh, he's changed, let's get it divorced. And then the lawyers are licking their lips, literally licking their lips. Even the lawyer on the side of the man, because he's not gonna push for joint custody. Why? Because he is not going to rock the boat. They're all in on it. The judge, the lawyer for the husband, the lawyer for the wife, the team for the wife, right? And then the lawyer says, you know, you should just really go along with whatever she says. Let's just not argue and draw this out. You should just go with it. Bad advice. Horrible advice. Lawyers are supposed to have a fiduciary responsibility to you. That means that they are supposed to look out for your best interest, and they do not. That means that all of these innocent guys going to jail, they have a lawyer not looking out for the best interest of these innocent guys, are they? They're not saying, Judge, I need forensic evidence, actual physical evidence. No body was found. And then the person comes up 10 years later. That has happened. They had a bad lawyer, right? The lawyers are all in it together. And these stupid feminists then claim victory. Oh, see, the woman is the most nurturing. No, she's not. Absolutely not. I have a video on here that the NFL and the MLB tried to sue me over, showing men holding their children and catching baseballs and footballs and diving to save their children. That's how a man takes care of a child. He actually takes care of a child. He doesn't sit there and hold his hand or hold her hand. He lets the child grow up, first of all. I just watched a multi-millionaire worth $200 million, $300 million, $800 million maybe, say that he taught his children how to swim, didn't put a fence around it, around the pool. Day 2, he's putting his baby into the water, teaching the kid how to swim. And there's an entire league of people that do that teach infants how to swim. They say the infant has been in water for 9 months. He's accustomed to water. He's not actually accustomed to dry land. And we're just building on that instinct. A man doesn't nurture a child. A man lets a child grow. And that's the whole point of passing on good genes, blah, blah, blah. You know, a man teaches a child by example. Sure, the older the man gets, then he just dispenses wisdom simply because he can't go out and throw the baseball with the child. Have you seen the men with the daughter and they play catch because he wants a boy? That's what a man does. Now, if you know of a woman who's going through a divorce right now, I want you to show her this video. And I want you to ask her, because you're a good friend, right? is there anything earth-shattering that happened in the marriage that led you to divorce? Or, and be honest, did you simply read Cosmo, or watch MTV, or watch CNN, or MSNBC, or NBC, ABC, CBS, and get some fool notion in your head that your husband is supposed to act a certain way, instead of your husband is supposed to act the exact way that he's been acting for 30 years, 20 years, 50 years, and you're trying to change something when in fact you were attracted to the very thing that you're trying to change. I do not believe in divorce at all, and I think there is no reason to get a divorce outside of a wife beating a man or a man beating a woman. Outside of that. Now, I used to be of the notion infidelity was an automatic divorce, but infidelity might simply be a shortcoming of the person to begin with, or I'm not doing my job physically to the woman, or the woman isn't doing her job physically to the husband. That's why people cheat. They don't cheat because they love you so dearly that they just had to go and get some vagina from somebody else. Those two are not congruent. They can't love you so dearly and yet go seek loving from somebody else. They had a woman who wrote an entire book simply about that. Why do men cheat? And she surveyed the men, and that's exactly what they said, because she doesn't do anything. Ranging from we don't have sex at all, and yet she wants to scream about infidelity. Well, if you're not having sex at all, you have absolutely no claim over his body. She's listened to some stupid feminist that says all sex is rape, which is, you have to sit down and think, who's saying this? It has to be a lesbian. Has to be a man-hating lesbian to even make that statement. There is no loving woman that's gonna make the statement that all sex is rape. No. The two cannot be the same, come from the same source. You can't have a loving wife with 5 children say all sex is rape. It has to be from some jilted, lesbian, man-hating woman, right? Anyway, the woman did the interviews, and it ranged from she's not having sex at all with me, all the way to we do have sex, but there's nothing there. She literally lies there like a cold. It literally feels like I'm having sex with a corpse, and that is icky. That's gross. And she can't claim infidelity when in fact the real problem is she doesn't want to be married. And there's people who are like that. They get married, and then 2 years later say, I just don't want to be married. Not just to you, I don't want to be married at all. Even then, that's some juvenile crap. And when you get down to the problem, when you get down to the analysis, the psychological analysis of that situation, they don't want to be an adult. And when I say they don't want to be an adult, there's no aspect of adulthood that they like at all. Not even the freedom of going out and buying whatever the hell you want to when you want to, which a child can't do, right? They don't want to be an adult. It's not that they don't want to be married. They don't want to be an adult. That's some psychological insanity buried deep down in that person. Then when you cure that they can't accept being an adult, period, then the marriage is fine. So when you encounter those women, just take them to a psychiatrist and fix that. Fix them right up. Give them some Adderall or whatever and fix them right up. Some Ambien, let them walk around the house. Make sure you have a 1-story house so they don't fall off a cliff or nothing. And they'll be good as rain. Good, right as rain. Good as gold. Anyway, so the short answer is that it's the divorce lawyers that are behind not just divorce, but the child custody and why the child custody is going to the woman. The woman thinks that she's getting something. She's not getting something. You're destroying wealth. Everything with me is about wealth. The wealth of the family, the wealth of the family, the wealth of the family. When you get sole custody of the children, that not just destroys the wealth, it destroys the entire legacy of the family. It's destruction. It's not good for the children. The children are now going to grow up with a complete complex. You cannot raise a child by yourself. I don't care how good you are. I know these women are going to be defensive, but I'm the man no, you're not. You have a vagina. You don't have a penis. You actually need a penis to be the counterpart to the vagina. That's why the African religions were the way that they were, because they observed that men and women are different, and together they make a whole. There was no single God for Africans. They were two gods, always two gods, two gods, two gods, two gods, two gods, male and female, yin and yang. The Asians got that from the Africans. It wasn't the opposite way around. I don't care how much of a loving woman you are a woman. And you need to be adult and admit that you do not have a penis. That's the admission. That's the complete admission. You're right. I don't have a penis. I cannot raise a girl, right, without a penis. I cannot raise a boy without a penis. So I have to go and get somebody with a penis who probably is the father of them and have him help me raise each other. So why are you getting a divorce? It comes full circle, right? You're destroying wealth. You're destroying wealth. You're destroying legacy. It's just destruction, destruction, destruction. And the lawyers don't care. You know, the lawyers have 5 children at home and a loving wife. They could care less. And they are doing divorce coming out of their nose. And they're just making killing. And I recommend that you get sole custody. And we're going to ask for all of the billable hours to be charged to your husband too. Oh yes, it's going to be a great day. And you're going to win. Lady, you're going to win. Yay! You get half his money. So now the wealth is completely destroyed because half doesn't actually mean half. At the end of the day, when they calculate it, let's say you had $100 million. At the end of the day, you don't end up with 50 million, 50 million. You end up with 20 million, 20 million. Well, how do you end up with that? Because that's all the fees and all of this percentage and all. You remember lawyers can take up to a third of some lawyers can take up to a third of what you get, right? Now he's saying, and I want the third of the other guy too. So not only do I want my third that I'm charging, I want the third of the other guy too. So that means 2/3 are being taken out of the nest egg. And you thought you won. Well, don't you love me? You would pay half for me, wouldn't? No. You're not gonna get half. You're gonna get chump change. And at the end of the day, your family is gonna end up in ruins. Because no longer you don't have a family. Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe somebody can write an outline of all of this in their comment. You don't end up with half, and nobody ends up with half. Not even the man. Nobody ends up with a half. And with child custody, you don't even end up with a third. You people are fools doing this. Complete fool. And the women's are, we won. And the feminists are saying, we won. You don't have anything to do with it, feminist. It's a divorce between that woman and that man. You have nothing to do with it. Nothing. If she's fool enough to say, oh, well, I'm going to get a divorce because all sex is rape, and you end up with not even a third. And if it's about money, you're not fit to live, really, in my estimation. Because first of all, you don't even know the concept of money, wealth. The family is the wealth. It's not just the wealth of actually money, 2 people working together to create a legacy. It's not just that. It's also the wealth of the nation. And that's what Africans understood. It's the wealth of the nation, the family. And it's supposed to be, black people, that you grow up, become an adult, get married, and offer something of value to the rest of the people. What is that? By opening up a business of your own. There's a need for businesses always. Everybody needs a business, right? Do you make your own clothes? Do you grow your own food? Do you cook your own food? How about that one? Do you wash your own dishes? Do you have dishes? Do you make your own dishes? Do you make your own dishwasher? Do you make your own furniture? Do you make your own house? Do you buy and sell your own house? Do you buy and sell your own land? Do you build your own walls? All of these comes from other people who made stuff. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to grow up, become an adult, start a business of some sort that somebody needs somewhere that you like doing. Don't become a butcher if you hate the sight of blood. Don't become a carpenter if you were 2 thumbs and you freaking hate your thumb, hit your fingers with a hammer all the time. Yeah, don't do that. Do something else. Do something that you love. Divorce destroys not just a family but the nation. And I'm talking about it destroys. I mean, like 3 levels deep, it destroys a family. Well, I just couldn't stand him. Why? Because you have bad expectations, unrealistic expectations. You've read something somewhere that somebody told you, or even your mom, or even worse, you had an idea of how the wealth of the family is supposed to be, and 2008 hit and you didn't understand that's supposed to happen. Business is cyclical. It goes through ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And then all these people get divorced in 2008. Oh, well, He lost all our money and he can't find a job. What a shiftless Negro. No, it's a business cycle. If you're an adult and you understood money, you would understand that you're going to have a business cycle, and it's supposed to be that we're supposed to go up into a boom, but we never did what we never had the actual depression, which means it built up and then it built down. Well, we didn't go down. We were heading down, and then the Federal Reserve said, no, we're not going to go down. Infuse money, infuse money, infuse money. So then all of the business level people never felt the down, which means we have stores still open today that are not supposed to be open. Now, I told you in the last thing that we have all of these firms closing 200 stores, 300, 400 stores, laying off that many people, thousands of people. These are people that should have closed in 2007, 2008. Why? Because that's not what the economy needed at that time anyway. Why is Radio Shack closing so many stores? Because people no longer make their own electronic things. Radio Shack, its main business is to sell electronic gadgets and parts for you to create and construct your own electrical engineering things or component things. Yes, it has headphones. Yes, it has cell phones. Yes, it has cameras, but that's not what they actually cater to people who make their own headphones, who make their own cameras, who make their own cell phones and calculators. Nobody does that. People are stupid now, right? I used to literally jizz on myself going into Radio Shack because I could come out and I could go home and make all sorts of crazy, crappy computer stuff. Loved it. I thought it was the best store ever. Now, not so much. It's a destruction of wealth. We never had our downtime. You remember they said, oh, well, now we're in information-based economy. We're no longer a manufacturing economy, which is stupid. Because even in an information economy, you still need to manufacture crap. If you're going to open up a call center, you still need the little office pods, the desk, the furniture, the phones, the phone connectors. You need all of that crap. All of that stuff has to be manufactured. At the base of any economy has to be manufacturing. The sugar on your dinner table or in your cupboard or wherever you put your sugar isn't sugar. Somebody has to refine the sugar. All of that is at the base core, and they're talking about minimum wage. No, we wouldn't have a minimum wage issue if we still had our manufacturing base. All of the quote unquote poor people would be working in the factories. Then the middle people would be creating all these other businesses. They don't have to make their own tables. They can go to the factory and buy the table, right? We never had a real shift, which means all of these information places would close and we would go back down to manufacturing, because that's where it's at. The world is still brand new. A lot of economies are still, emerging markets. You hear this? Emerging markets. These are people who don't have sophisticated markets. We could be manufacturing and selling to all of those people. Anyway, that was a short answer. It's the lawyers who were behind the entire, and I tried to make it as less complicated than it really is. It's very complicated. The lawyers get all the money. They destroy your family and get all the money. And the base reason that you're getting divorced isn't even a reason in my book, right? I would deny every divorce. Or are you just a whore and you want to have somebody else's penis? Maybe you can have an open marriage, right? If he's going off, sending back hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're sitting in this mansion, but he's away all the time, maybe you can have the pool boy come back. You can have your fill, and then when he comes home, you can be a loving wife then. Thank you for watching. Shikamacha.